Look, I'm sorry, but me and Tyler can't finish this game in time. Maybe if we delayed the game.
We can't delay the game, Frank. Halo Infinite is a launch title for the new Xbox. Well, that didn't age well. So yes, Halo Infinite has been delayed, and honestly, I'm not really that shocked. I mean, even before the demo dropped, I was getting nervous. It was about 6 to 4 months from release, and we had little to no news about the game. There was no gameplay, no multiplayer talk, no talk about the story or the campaign. We literally only had 2 cinematic trailers, and technically that second one was supposed to be in-engine, but after seeing the gameplay demo, I kinda doubt that. And yeah, it just didn't seem right for a game of this caliber with this kind of brand recognition, especially one that's a launch title for the new Xbox, to be so quiet. And after seeing the demo, that kind of strengthened my worries. I mean, as far as my opinions on the demo, I've already made a community post about how you should check out Actman's video. That video perfectly represents my opinion on it. But if you don't want to watch it, here's just a quick flash of all my likes, dislikes, and mixed opinions on the game. I know my opinion is subjective on this, and I won't be able to explain myself, so just take it out as you will. But if you want to pause the video and check that out, you can. But yeah, well, the game looks fun. It definitely looks unpolished. A lot of the animations just look bad, a lot of pop-in. Some of the graphics just don't look next gen, and it just doesn't look very polished. And I'm worried that if the presentation is bad, what does that say about the rest of the game? Then my worries got bigger when they decided they needed help from another company called Iasonas to help them. They're a company that is known for just helping other developers finish games in time. I know they've helped with stuff like Saints Row 3 Remastered, Rainbow Six Siege, Black Ops 4, and some Assassin's Creed games, but yeah, it just seemed more and more like a delay would have been the right call. The only reason this is very surprising is because of the fact this was supposed to be a launch title for the Xbox Series X. So the fact that Microsoft actually okayed this just tells me that they were like, okay, yeah, we gotta back this up. People are pissed.
It makes no sense.
Or does it make perfect sense?
What the... See, that's the type of... I'm gonna kick your ass.
I mean, let's face it, when Domino's makes fun of you, you know you fucked up. As far as the delay, I'm sure some of you are probably more along the lines of feeling like,
oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
But to be honest, this is probably the best news I've heard about this game so far. I mean, seriously, with how much that they were promising versus the amount of time they had, it just seemed like a no-brainer. I mean, let's talk about the reasons why this game was delayed. I already mentioned that the game had little to no news or marketing, and even after the demo, they only had 4 months to talk about the multiplayer, reveal details, do flighting, edit the game based on feedback, make changes based on the reaction from the demo, work on updates, and yeah, it was just too much. And it's clear that coronavirus did cause a big factor in this, and even they said this in their little post that you can also pause and read if you want to. But yeah, they mentioned how coronavirus set back a lot of their plans, their development. They did confirm before that it basically canceled flighting for this game for the most part, so there's a good chance we weren't even going to get a beta for this game. And I even knew that before the demo, because to give you an idea, for Halo 3 in 2007, their beta was in June, whereas their release was September of the same year. In 2010 for Halo Reach, their beta was May, whereas the game came out also in September of the same year. Halo 5's is interesting. Their beta was late December of 2014, and the game didn't come out till October 2015, So despite obvious opinions on that game, it is crazy that they gave that game an entire year's gap with their beta just so they could change the game up. And if you look at beta footage of Halo 5, they did make a lot of changes. Some of them maybe not for the better, but they did have time to work on it. Halo Infinite had nothing, and by the time that demo dropped, they still had 4 months. And yeah, 4 months might sound like a lot, but it's not. I even explained it in the little Machinima parody that I made, which you should totally watch. We put a lot of work into that. Please watch it. That means we only have less than 6 months to reveal the game, release a beta, gather pre-orders, make a proper marketing campaign, ship copies across the globe, and oh yeah, finish the fucking game! But yeah, this was just a no-brainer. The demo just looked kind of mediocre. Plus the fact that between the coronavirus and all the changes and updates they had to do, I mean, hell, I was worried this game wasn't even gonna come with everything in launch. There was already talks about things like ray tracing being delayed with an update, and if you don't know, ray tracing's basically, as far as a simple description, it just helps with the lighting with graphics. So the game would have had piss poor lighting at launch. And let's not even start with the conspiracy theories of what other modes would get cut. I mean, would it be like Halo 5 where they cut stuff like Big Team Battle, Infection, Griffball, Forge, and other stuff at launch? But I think this delay is a good thing, and I'm proud of 343 for doing this, because this is not the first time they've been faced with this kind of problem. Maybe not in this scale, but they had a similar incident with the Master Chief Collection. It came with Halo 2 Anniversary, so they wanted to meet Halo 2's 10th anniversary date as a release date for the game. Unlike with this scenario, they actually chose to just push the game out, and if you know from Halo MCC's launch, that was a bad decision. The game was fucked. But to put it lightly, now the game's in a good condition, like, what, 6 years later, and we're only now getting actual new content, which kinda should have happened at launch, but regardless, I'm happy the game's in a good state now, but I'm glad they learned from that with Halo Infinite. Honestly, another game I think of when I was thinking of the sort of progression of going through Halo Infinite's marketing and what it seemed like the game's state was at was Anthem. Anthem had a similar scenario where, you know, they showed it in like 2 E3s, but didn't really talk about it much until the last few months of release. We all know now that the first and second E3 demo were basically fake. They were really just cinematics to look like gameplay, because even though the game had 7 years of development, they only really started working on it in the last year because they wasted so much time on pre-visualization and really didn't use time management wisely. So I was worried that Halo Infinite was going to fall under that same trap, but luckily that might not be the case. And let's talk about why this delay is really good. For one, it gives them more time to polish the game. 2, it gives them more time to implement features or remove stuff that people might have not liked and just really balance things out. It also gives them more time to actually do some testing with the game, maybe release some flighting or betas, which I do think the game needs. There's a lot of things people are undecided about, like I really think the grappling hook looks cool and would be a really cool addition to Halo, but a lot of people are on the fence because God forbid we add anything new in Halo. But this also means that they could add some more marketing to this game, which this game also really needs. I really loved that cinematic opening to the demo, and I would love to see more stuff like that. And I just think this was the right call. I don't want to ramble on for too long, but this was definitely the right call for 343. Now, I want to talk about something else though. I mentioned in my community post I had another suggestion for 343 that might be controversial to the Halo community. But luckily I have seen other members of the Halo community talk about this, so I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable like talking about this, but regardless, here it is. They need to cancel the Xbox One port of Halo Infinite.
Yo, I heard there was a bitch in here and I just had to come see for myself.
Look, man, I'm working on videos, okay? So what do you want?
I heard a rumor that you're trying to tell people to tell 343 to cancel the one port of Halo Infinite. Is this true?
Yeah, I'm trying to tell people that the Xbox One is just holding Halo Infinite back.
What are you, crazy? Do you have money for a gaming PC?
No, I do not have the money for a new PC.
Okay. Well, do you have any interest in getting the new Xbox Series X?
Not really. They really don't have anything that really interests me in getting a new Xbox besides Halo.
Then surely you realize that if they cancel the one port of Infinite, you will not be able to play the game? And you will not be able to make machinimas for the channel?
Yeah, I'm perfectly aware of this.
Wait, really?
Yep, I'm totally fine with it.
Wait, but that doesn't make sense. Why?
Good question. Yes, I get it. I am the last person who would gain anything from this. In fact, I would probably suffer from this. You guys know I make machinimas on the channel, and if I wasn't able to play Halo Infinite, that means I wouldn't be able to do like Halo Infinite machinimas. But honestly, if it means the game not getting held back by old 2013 hardware, I don't care if I play it or not. No, you might be asking, why do I think it's such a bad idea to release this game on Xbox One? Most people probably have an Xbox One and don't have the money for a new PC or the Xbox Series X. But I think it's a bad idea because you're holding the game back with this old hardware. This is supposed to be a launch title for the new Xbox. What Xbox says is quote-unquote the most powerful console, and Halo Infinite does not represent that. And it's funny, when I first saw the graphics and how, I don't want to say cartoony, but they were very simplified. You know, very simple shapes, almost plastic looking, very little to no blood. You know, I was worried that the reason they did that was just because, oh, they wanted to make the game rated teen, just so they could appeal to more kids, but no, now I'm wondering if it was because of hardware limitations. I mean, think about it. You have an open world, the game is going to support 4-player co-op, so you're probably going to have like players who can travel all around this open world. Like when you're going up that elevator, there could be a guy on the across the field on that one Forerunner structure mountain thing, and that's going to take a lot of performance to handle smoothly. Also, the multiplayer is supposed to have 120 frames per second, which sounds nice, but at the same time I really don't give a shit about, because remember when Halo 5 had to cut out split screen just to get 60 frames per second? Like, I do not care about that. As long as my game runs and I can see what's going on clearly, I don't care if it's the fastest running whatsoever. I just feel like that holds the game back in my opinion, but you know, some people like that better performance. So yeah, they're really putting a lot into this, and they're gonna have a lot of like updates and stuff like campaign stuff and probably multiplayer. If they want to improve Forge from Halo 5 at all, they're probably going to make it like super huge. They're also going to have a lot of Halo's traditional multiplayer modes. So there's a lot of factors going into this, and you want to hold it back on the Xbox One? They're probably not going to be able to innovate in a lot of impressive ways. This is why PlayStation has decided that when the PS5 comes out, they're not going to release any more games for the PS4, because there's no reason to. I mean, heck, Microsoft discontinued production on the Xbox One. So it's not like they're looking for there to be a lot of Xbox One sales. And that's another thing. You might be thinking, look, Dominic, even if 343 wanted to listen to you, what's to say Microsoft would listen to them? Now here's the thing, Microsoft's end goal is they want to sell some of the Xbox Series X, but at the moment, there's really no incentive to buy it, which is why I'm not interested. Besides for Halo, there really are no real standout games besides maybe Fable, even though all we saw was a title. I mean, and going off of what we experienced with the last generation with Xbox One, they really didn't have a lot of good exclusives. Like, the best ones I can think of were like Cuphead, Gears 4 and 5, and Halo 5, and that's scraping the bottom of the barrel for most of those games. So yeah, there was no reason to get an Xbox Series X for games. If you just wanted something that was available, you would just use your Xbox One, and if you wanted something with the best like quality or performance, you would just get a PC. So there really wasn't much incentive to get the new Xbox anyway. But say, and I'm gonna use my own case as a scenario. Okay, I have an Xbox One. I don't have money for a new gaming PC because I literally just bought a new laptop just to get work done, and I have no interest in the Xbox Series X. That said, if Halo Infinite wasn't available on the current Xbox, that would probably push me to at the very least get one of the other two options. And say I didn't have the time to put together a gaming PC, or I'm not a PC guy, or maybe it's later down the line when the Xbox Series X is more cheap or more of my friends have it, then maybe I would feel more tempted to get it. In the long run, it'll tempt more people to buy the Xbox Series X, which is what I'm sure Microsoft want. I know despite them doing everything to make you not want to buy it, from making games available on PC and Xbox One, I would think that they would want you to buy this console since they invested so much time and money into it, and this would actually be a real push. I just feel like the Xbox One would just hold the game back, and this game is, from what it's saying, it's being very ambitious, especially with those campaign updates. But it also makes me worry, because if it's going to be held back by Xbox One, does that mean that these updates are just going to be copy and pasted levels? Like, I do not want Spartan Ops over again. I love the concept of updated campaigns, but I don't like the idea of just copy and pasting the same level, but maybe you throw different enemies, vehicles, or weapons in it. Like, I want something new. I want actual well-told stories. Like, do something innovative and not just copy and paste. I don't want the open world in general to be copy and paste. Like, I want it to be that kind of open world game where I could branch off of the main story and still discover things, have random crazy encounters, or discover things. I don't want it to be a generic open world like Assassin's Creed or the newer Far Cry games, or Ghost Recon Wildlands and Destiny are probably better examples where you just verse the same type of waves of enemies from point A to point B. Most of the objectives are copy and paste in the same, and usually you have to do stuff like clear out a camp to unlock a new area. It's like, I don't want generic stuff like that. Like, I don't want there to be like 5 missions of take out 3 anti-air batteries, or take out another scarab, but this time it's got a new color scheme or a funny hat. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that. It's that kind of stuff that makes me hate modern open world games. And I don't want an empty world either. I don't want something like ODST. Yes, ODST had great atmosphere, had great music, and the first few times you're going through the dead city of Newman Bassa, it's like, wow, this is really immersive. I'm loving this. But then you realize, okay, there's no side quests. I'm basically just versing the same waves of enemies that I could easily skip. And in the end of the day, this is basically just adding length to the campaign and just wasting time that I could be doing just going into the mission select screen and just jumping from the actual missions back to back instead of having to walk from point A to point B just to get to the next mission. Like, I don't want that. So yeah, I don't want this video to go on for too long, and I do apologize if the audio is a little iffy or if I sound like I'm rambling. This video is not scripted, and I had a lot of issues with my microphone just being distorted and too loud despite all my setting changes, so I'm actually resorting to my phone to get this audio. So I hope you guys didn't mind the quality of this video, but regardless, if you do agree with this idea, let other Halo YouTubers like Hidden Xperia, Fabian, Actman know, so that maybe they can put a more professional spin on it. Even let 343 know, because I do care about 343. I know I make a lot of parodies knocking on him, but I do salute any developer that takes on Halo, because We are not an easy community to develop a game for. We just want, everyone seems to want just Halo 3.5, like a copy and paste of Halo 3, and not want anything new or innovative, but at the same time, that's what's gonna kill Halo. But at the same time, if you change too much, that also hurts Halo, so developing Halo's not easy, I get it, and Theory 3, they're just trying to do something new and creative with Halo, which I'm all for. And it does seem like Halo Infinite is starting to be more of a nice balance between old and new, whereas 5 was just way too far. So I wish them luck. I hope this delay isn't just like February or March, but it's actually something more along the lines of like holiday season 2021. Hell, I don't even care if the game's delayed like Cyberpunk. I don't even care if I'm 50 when this game comes out. So with that said, let's just hope that this release is good.
Hurry up. Look, you want to do this? Be my guest. But this ain't a job you want to rush.